Welcome to the Discover AI Solutions and Support for Implementation webinar organized by the 6 ICT49 projects. This webinar is organized together with the projects AI for Copernicus, AI Plan for EU, DIH for AI, I-NERGY, BonsAPPs, and StairwAI. I'm Melissa Brunner from the Insight Centre for Data Analytics at the University College Cork, and I am working in the StairwAI project. So before we begin, I just wanted to let you know that we have a poll running, a Zoom poll. You can see it at the bottom left, I believe, close to the button where you can choose to share your screen normally. So if you want to participate in that poll throughout the webinar, you can, just to give us an idea of who you are and what your needs might be. So in future, we might be able to address these as well in other webinars or activities. So our webinar today is, so we have our agenda here. We have some slight changes. I'm afraid some of our speakers couldn't join us as they were ill. So we have Slavko Kovacevic and Anna Jeknic presenting for BonsAPPs. And instead of our session from the European Digital SME Alliance speaker, Xenia, we now have a Q&A feedback session to get to know the audience and your needs a little better and see how we may be able to help you in the future. So I'm going to start by giving you an introduction to the ICT49 projects and the AI on Demand platform. So, you can see here the European AI landscape. So the European Commission has funded different projects to advance innovation and research in artificial intelligence. And some of these projects that were launched under the Horizon 2020 program are the 6 ICT49 projects: AI Plan for EU, DIH for AI, BonsAPPs, AI for Copernicus, I-NERGY and StairwAI. You can see them here in the red box. And these are all connected through the AI on Demand platform. And this AI on Demand platform was first developed by the AI for EU project. So you can see here, the AI for You project was first launched in 2019, I believe, and developed the first version of the AI on Demand platform. And then the ICT49 projects were launched in 2021 to enrich this AI on Demand platform with additional services, AI assets, and other resources. And also the ICT48 projects, which are the networks of excellence, are also contributing to the development of the AI on Demand platform. Now, as of 2022, there's actually a new project that just launched now in July, the AI for Europe project, which will continue to develop the AI on Demand platform by ensuring that it is attractive and valuable for AI researchers. So the AI for Europe program will add some additional services and assets and so on, specifically for AI researchers, but also the platform has other assets and resources that are very beneficial for SMEs and other organizations too. So what exactly is the AI on Demand platform? Well, it is basically the European platform that collects all the information, AI assets, experts, events, news, and so on the topic of AI. So the idea is that all AI related information, assets, organizations, and so on would be easily accessible and visible on the European AI on Demand platform. So you have a community space that shows different projects that are working in AI. You have a business and industry space that shows, for example, use cases in different verticals. You have a research section that also has an experimentation facility, so you can do experiments on the platform. There's an education section where you can have access to free courses on artificial intelligence and learn more about AI. Then there's also an ethics section to learn more about ethics in AI, and there's new services. So new services are being developed partially by our 6 ICT49 projects, StairwAI for Copernicus, I-NERGY, AI Plan for You, BonsAPPs, and DIH for AI. For example, StairwAI is developing a matchmaking service so that users can go onto the platform and be matched with AI experts or AI resources and hardware and cloud providers based on their needs. AI for Copernicus focuses on Earth observation, I-NERGY on the energy sector, AI Plan for You on planning in AI, BonsAPPs on cyber-physical systems, and DIH for AI on digital innovation hubs. So now our next few sessions will be 5 AI use cases that will be presented by speakers that are involved in 5 of the ICT49 projects. So our first speaker is from our StairwAI project, Tanos Cosmidis. The floor is yours. You're welcome to present your use case on your cancer support chatbot.
Great, and thank you very much, Melissa, and thank you everyone for being here this morning. As Melissa mentioned, this is in the context of StairwAI, and StairwAI is in the context of a much broader framework that the European Commission is advocating in terms of artificial intelligence. I represent Care Across, a digital health company focusing on cancer, and we can go a bit deeper on that on the next slide. And over the next 4 or 5 minutes or so, I will present to you where we stand today and what we aim to achieve in the next few months of our engagement with StairwAI. As I mentioned, we are focusing on cancer. We provide personalized support for cancer patients directly through online platforms. And the aim of that support is to help them improve their quality of life. So just to clarify, we're not providing diagnosis, we're not providing treatment recommendations or find the best doctor for you. We're there for that long and sometimes painful roller coaster of a journey when somebody has been diagnosed with cancer. Just to give you an example of what this does is with side effects being very, very common. There's fatigue, there's nausea, there's gastrointestinal symptoms, there are emotional well-being symptoms that the cancer or its treatments are affecting. And through our platform, through our services, we're providing that personalized support. And we have very good evidence that this actually helps patients. We've been doing this in several languages in several European countries already. And this has been going well, but the interaction is in some cases not as engaging as we and the patient would like. So in the context and through the StairwAI project and through this opportunity, we want to, first of all, offer a more interactive experience, so have more fast interaction. And second, collect more insights from patients. So the more data we can collect from patients, the better our services, but also our understanding of patients' needs can be, and thus driving that quality of life impact to our users. So this is where we are, this is where we want to go. On the next slide, I will try to explain a bit more the plan. So as mentioned, this will be an interactive chatbot, essentially replicating the experience, but accelerating the interaction through a chatbot. The StairwAI project through this call, for those who are not familiar with it, is a 6-month project split into 2 sides, 2 phases. One is the feasibility study and then the prototype building. So at the end of those 6 months, we aim to have a prototype of a service that will be ready to support patients in some aspects of their daily living. The supporters behind us and behind this are absolutely crucial. So as mentioned, this is a Stairway Open Call number 1. Through that, there is mentors and facilitators. There will be technical experts through a pool of experts that we will have through the project at our disposal. And similarly, service providers that are usually, I believe, companies which have services that we can build the platforms on top of. I believe there's one more slide, and I will try to start, wrapping things up so that the rest of the innovators can share with the vision. And I think this is important. We're talking about cancer patients here, so we want to provide more support and provide it faster. So be there when the patient looks for support and have that speedy interaction that matches better what a patient may need in some cases. Now, we want to offer this to more patients, and there's a couple of ways to do that. One is reaching out to more patients through a more permanent and broad placement of a chatbot as an inbound request mechanism, but also having this interaction being more fast, we will be able to support more patients in a scalable manner. And last but not least, we aspire to have all that rich content that we have, a lot of content in several languages, be able to expand to more languages through some of the tools that we understand may be at our disposal now or later. So this, I believe, wraps up the core of the Care Across offering. I believe there is a concluding slide that I'd be happy to leave you with, which has information about both the StairwAI project and also our website. And I will also type my personal email address, my work email address in the chat for anyone who may want to reach out. Thank you very much for your interest and your attention. Enjoy the rest of the webinar.
Thank you very much, Tanas. Thanks for the lovely presentation. It's nice to hear that AI can help people in different sectors, especially people who are going through difficult times as well. Just a question that might be helpful for other people who are trying to adopt AI solutions as well. Do you have any tips for when you want to adopt AI in the healthcare sector as an SME, for example? Is there anything you can share from your experience there?
This is a great question, and I think an increasingly important one as AI becomes, a layer on top of which we can build several things. I think in healthcare, trust is paramount, and trust is not just from the patient side, which is what we focused on here, right? Trust is also from the clinician side, but also for the rest of the ecosystem. So having something that people can have some sort of understanding of, not necessarily the technicalities of how it works, but how it gets to deliver what it gets to deliver at the end of the day. And by the same token, I believe it's important to go beyond the tactical goal of delivering something through a means, but because we're talking about scalable services, try to build that empathy, try to build that understanding that we will never be able, I believe at least, to meet or reach the level of empathy that a nurse or a doctor can exhibit. But we don't want patients and people to regard these tools as a box that they click on something and something else happens. We want them to understand that this is something that can be part of their end-to-end care, and empathy and listening are critical.
Perfect. Thanks very much, Thanos, for your presentation and for answering our question, giving the audience some tips for the healthcare sector in AI. I know you have to leave for another meeting, so thank you for joining us. And
thank you. I'll stick around for a little bit more and I enjoy the conversation, but thank you for your understanding as well.
So if any of you want to reach out to Tanis as well, as he said, you can contact him through his contact details that he will add to the chat. Now, next, our speaker is Mauro Valatti from AI Plan for You. Mauro, this floor is yours.
Great.
Mauro will be presenting a use case on AI planning for integrated urban traffic control.
Great, thank you very much, Melissa. And yeah, today I'm wearing two hats. So one, which is my academic hat, which is from my reader position at the University of Huddersfield, but I'm also using the hat of a Simplified System Limited, which is an SME that works on deploying AI solutions on the traffic control infrastructure of our network. So if we move to the next slide, please. I'll try to provide you a kind of overview of what we are trying to achieve with these a case study. So urban traffic control is mostly about dealing with traffic congestion. So the overall goal is to minimize the delay for everyone which is navigating through a network. And this is traditionally performed via traffic light optimization. So you know that there are some major corridors in a city, and what you try to do is to optimize traffic light so that the corridor can flow quite freely and that you are not damaging too much crossroads or minus roads around. Of course, there is a trade-off to consider, and that is where this optimization is quite critical. However, on top of that, in recent time, and actually growing more and more for the future, connected autonomous vehicles are coming on the scene, and they can provide a direct way to affect traffic and traffic flows. When you are optimizing traffic lights, you are indirectly affecting the traffic, so you're modifying things that are then modifying the traffic. But if you can communicate with vehicles and give instruction to the vehicles, you can change the way in which the traffic is moving. And if you try to merge, and if you try to integrate traffic light optimization and traffic distribution, which is the process of telling vehicles where to go, you can generate we believe we can generate very good synergies that can help to improve the way in which traffic is moving in our cities. And if we move to the next slide, please, we can see the overall methodologies and the overall AI solutions that we are working on for merging and for doing this sort of integration of urban traffic control. So in terms of Simplify and in terms of the University of Huddersfield, we have filed some patents in different countries about the use of automated planning or AI planning for controlling traffic lights and using a specific formalism that is called PDDL+. And what we are aiming at doing with the support of AI Plan for EU is to enhance this methodology so that it can integrate connected autonomous vehicles traffic assignment. We want to extend the infrastructure in order to allow the use of that additional, let's say, action to improve the movement in urban regions. Why do we believe that the AI planning is a good solution for that? Mostly because, well, first of all, it provides what we call a goal-oriented language. So you can specify a goal that you want to be achieved, and the AI planning infrastructure will allow you to reach it according to the way that you specify. And it is based on formal readable models. So you have basically some knowledge which is encoded in a way that can be read or at least can be understood by humans, and that supports very well verification and validation. So what we have been doing for traffic lights, for instance, was writing down these models, showing them to domain experts and checking with them, are we doing something that makes sense? Does it not make sense? How would you improve this aspect? And the AI planning technique allows you to play quite well and to interact very well with humans and to explain to them why things are going in that way and to fix aspects which are not working well. And the last slide, if we can move next, please, is just giving you an idea of the kind of, not really a consortium, but a range of different bodies and companies which have been helping us getting to this point and which are supporting us going forward. So Simplify Systems Limited, as I said before, and the University of Huddersfield, we've been collaborating a lot with traffic authorities and local authorities, particularly from the north of England. So the Kirklees Council, which is the Huddersfield area in West Yorkshire, and Transport for Greater Manchester, which is in the Midlands. And the work that we've been doing and be supported by the UK Research and Innovation through Futures Leaders Fellowship, and by this use case for AI Plan for EU, and hopefully by further fundings that we will be able to get through this scheme. And I believe that's all from my side. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mauro. Lovely presentation. Nice to have a variety of different use cases, you know, across different sectors for AI as well. Next up, we have our BonsAPP speakers, Slavko Kovacevic and Anna Jurnic, presenting their use case. So the floor is yours.
Hello. Well, as you said, we are from the Montenegro QC team, and we work on a defect detection challenge within the BonsAPPs project. More on that on the next slide. Well, this looks like an evil AI tool that gets people out of their jobs, but in reality is the opposite. You know, human workers get tired, they lose concentration and so forth, while our product, you know, never gets tired, doesn't have to sleep, and it doesn't take jobs away. It helps people that work on a production line that see like hundreds of thousands of products each day. So basically what our product does, it shows you where to look on the product. It says, okay, this part of the product could be defective. Go look it up. And basically that's the whole concept. Our product does two things. It detects defects and shows you the image segmentation. We can now move to the other slide.
Okay, so basically we offer a system that can classify product images that may originate from various industries. So basically it can be like industry of planes, something like fabric, or like any industry that has to check for defects in products. Also, our products, our system consists of two phases. First phase is kind of offline. We have data set with annotated images, and with that images, we train our AI model. So it can be deployable on an embedded system such as Raspberry Pi or Jetson Nano. And the second phase happens in a factory. So we have some camera that captures images on production line. And then based on that images, our system can classify if the product is defective or not. And more about that on next slide. So what we have images, zoomed product images, and our AI model. So when a camera on production line captures image, it goes to AI model, and we have two neural networks. And at the end of that analyze, we have the product is defective or not. So basically system can differentiate between two cases, a defective and non-defective product, and provide the location of the defective regions, as Slavko said. So we can go on next slide.
Yeah, and basically creating a neural network is a huge task, but deploying it on an embedded device, it's even more harder. Those embedded devices will probably work in an environment that is kind of hazardous, risky, with higher temperatures. So we had to take all that into account. We had to optimize and compress our neural networks to work on a small computers like Raspberry Pi that have limited memory and processing power and so on. So that was kind of the hardest part of our project, but in reality, that is what allows us to actually deploy our system. And now we can move to the next slide. And during our work with the BonsAPPs project, we kind of did a lot of technical and business educative classes. We also are very grateful that the BonsAPPs allowed us to use their AI pipeline to, like put our entire AI system within it. At the end of this road, we use their LPDNN deployment and optimization framework that sped up our product and made it easily deployable on embedded device. And that is it from us. Basically, it's a short story with a lot of information.
Thank you very much to both of you. Thank you for your presentation. Nice to have you. Thanks also for joining despite the difficulties.
Yeah, sorry for that. It's a very nice place.
At least you have a bit of sunshine. That's nice. So our next speaker is from I-NERGY, Andrea Diaz-Barredo. Hi, Andrea.
Hello, good morning, everyone.
So the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Well, my name is Andrea Barredo, as Melissa said, and I work for the Regional Energy Agency in Asturias, in the north of Spain. And our use case, the use case that we are involved in energy project is entitled Artificial Intelligence for Predicting Climate Change Impacting Renewable Energy Sources and Energy Demand at Regional Level. So the main interest is related with solar radiation for energy purposes. Related with the main challenge that we are trying to solve or to overcome is the forecasting of solar resource and try to analyze or to understand the effect of climate change. And to do that, we had a problem that was the lack of accuracy of historical radiation data, mainly due to two main reasons. The first one was that the main weather station of the National Meteorological Agency was located in Oviedo, that is the main city of Asturias, that is in the center of the region and at an altitude of 400 meters above the mean sea level. So the data collected in Oviedo in these main weather stations were the data that were used to project all the solar installations in every place in Asturias, in the whole region. And the second issue was that the technical building code divides the Spanish territory into 5 climatic zones. This code improve or let us to do better adjustments in the calculation, but does not reflect the real climatic differences among the Spanish regions. Next slide, please. Moreover, some studies were carried out at regional level that show important differences between different areas within the region. So these differences gave us the idea or the need to define the climatic areas in the region to make better calculations for solar installations and to try to use regional or local data. So we established a network for measurement the solar radiation in Asturias. We can go to the next slide. This network, this deployment started in 2006, and we continue installing different stations. And in 2020, we had 13 stations that are registering solar radiation, the temperature, and in some cases, the water network temperature, with a frequency of 10 to 15 minutes. These stations are, as you can see in the map, are located or distributed across the region. Next slide. So the artificial intelligence solutions that we are in which we are working in I-NERGY must allow us the prediction of the solar resource, the evaluation of the effect of climate change, to give us some support in sizing the solar energy installations, and to improve our knowledge in the solar resource. And the specific objectives of the use case are very similar, are solar radiation forecasting based on existing data, the analysis of the effect of climate change in solar radiation by using new or other additional data sources, to facilitate the sizing of solar installations in Asturias, and to improve the understanding of solar resource for the designing of the energy strategies in the mid or long term. Thank you. Okay. So today we have shared with the I-NERGY project almost 400 files of solar radiation and temperature that are data corresponding to the 10 to 15 minute frequency records for the period 2008 until 2018. And the process that are being done in the use case are first a pre-processing of the information using both FINDS database from this network of measurements, and additional databases like Copernicus and different another sources. After that, a calibration process is been doing to adjust bias by using the historical pre-process data. A process of evaluation and operation are being doing, where the data validation will be done by using solar radiation estimations, and all of this work will conduct to have a report or a set of predictions made by the AI tool. And finally, to do that, we are working closely with our technical partner, that is CARTIF. CARTIF is a Spanish technological center that is the main partner that is working on these developments of artificial intelligence, and the whole the whole I-NERGY consortia is also doing some other operations like validations or modeling or giving support to the developments. And that's all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Andrea. Thank you for your presentation. Next up, we have our AI for Copernicus speaker, Richard Bade.
Hello?
Hello? Yeah.
Hello. Okay. Could you switch from, I have the high energy slide. So hello, everybody. I am Richard Bade. I am the PicStart CEO. Just some information about PicStart. PicStart was born 6 years ago with the objective to facilitate the usage of Earth observation data, and especially data coming from the European Copernicus program, which is a big program about Earth observation. Our company works in different activity sectors. We work in retail sector, farming, urban, security, water management, forestry, and so on. And the use case that we will present to you nowadays is about the humanity sectors. Indeed, there is a big challenge in humanity sectors. The humanitarian actors are operating in increasingly complex environment. That means there are a lot of crises in prolonged timing with multi-phased crises and with a lot of security condition issue, rapidly growing needs, lot of elements. And in that challenging operational environment, and especially for this use case in Central Sahel, the information is very strategic, but it's not so easy to get some information like this in Sahel region because it's difficult to reach the population, to get information from the population due to the crisis condition, and there are a lack of data already recorded in that kind of area. So this is a challenge, how we could get more information and moreover up-to-date information on this non-accessible zone. Next slide, please. So to answer this question, we will use satellite data, Earth observation data, and more especially Copernicus data. But this is not the only solution. We need artificial intelligence. Why? Because we work in a huge area. We talk about a region, the Sahel region is also an African band, so it's very, very large. And we need a lot of information. We work also in an environment we change very fast, very quick. During a discussion with one of our NGO partners, he explained to me that when they fly over desert regions, they could come back 1 week after one day, and they see an environment totally changing with a lot of vegetation, and they never recognize where they are, even 10 years after of experience. So it's a very difficult region to analyze. And we have to keep in mind that Copernicus data provide a lot of information. We have a vision of any point in Earth with the Sentinel-2 satellite every 3 or 5 days. So we have a lot of information. It's why artificial intelligence is very essential in our work. For what we will use artificial intelligence? We will use artificial intelligence, for pre-processing the data coming from the satellite, to align the data, to be sure that the data is very to transform the raw materials data to a first level of interpretability of the data. We use it, of course, to interpret the information, what we see, the level of vegetation, the level of water, or other indicators. And we could use also artificial intelligence to match up the satellite data with other data. We could use OSM data, for example, or any other data of the environment. It could be violence act, for example, and so on. So we use artificial intelligence to mix all the information and to generate valuable information to the humanitarian expert or humanitarian actors. Which kind of methodology we have to use? We have to use all the artificial intelligence methodologies. That means that we generate supervised methodology, non-supervised methodology. Every technology is well acceptable for this kind of project, because we need to get a lot of information, as showing in the figures. So we use everything in that project. So for those who are just starting using artificial intelligence, we can provide some advice. Artificial intelligence is not magical. It's just a human expertise extension, automated. That means that you have to determine which AI methodology will be used to resolve a single problem. So that means that you have to put down the problem to be sure or will use Resolve It. And before that, you have to work a lot on the learning phase, which will determine the performance of the result. And it's very, very important. It looks like when you educate a children, if you provide to the children the bad example, it will be difficult for him as an adult. So artificial intelligence is exactly the same. You have to work a lot in the learning phase and to be sure that the data of example of the learning data you provide to your artificial intelligence model, it's very good. The quality of the data is essential. And if you have no data or a lack of data, like we reach in that kind of project, you have to determine other artificial intelligence system like non-supervised solution or semi-supervised solution. So thank you very much. Good luck for you then who start in artificial intelligence.
Thank you very much, Richard. Great presentation as well. Now, before we move on to our next sessions on support that you can get for AI adoption, if you go onto the AI on Demand platform, under the business and industry section in the menu, you will find case studies. And here you have an overview of loads of different AI case studies in different sectors. So from transportation to manufacturing to healthcare, the case studies that were presented today as well. I think if I'm correct, the last time I checked, there was about 40 AI case studies in there. So if you want to explore them, feel free to do so on the AI on Demand platform. Next up, we have Ursula Sorbeck from Funding Box presenting how ICT49 projects can support you in adopting AI.
Hi, hello. Thank you, Melissa, for introduction. And my name is Ursula Sobek, and I'm working under StairwAI project. And today I would like to give you some overview of the different funding opportunities that you can receive from all ICT49 project family. As you can see on the chart, most of the projects, so 5 out of 6, could offer you some type of open call, some funding opportunities during the next few months. And now I would like to present very quickly what type of a project you can submit and how you can apply to different projects, starting from the project with the closest open call. So first open call that will be available is third open call for use cases under AI Plan for EU. And the aim of this open call is to attract AI planning use cases from different contexts to connect innovators towards development of technology-specific bridges. And here you can apply as individual or as companies and receive funding up to 1,500 euro per use case. But despite this, you can also count on different funding opportunities in the near future. You can receive up to 30,000 euro to support your use case and also connect with users and suppliers from various industries. And this open call is already launched with a deadline by the 1st of September. And on the website here, you can find more details about this specific open call. And under AI Plan for EU, also another open call presented on the next slide. Yes, so there will be open call for innovators. And the goal of this call is to engage with innovators and SMEs within the 3 different tracks. So first tracks, track A, aiming to engage new valuable planners. Track B is designed to found a small consortia composed of 2 entities. One of them should be use case owner and the second one a developer. And track C is to found developers willing to build a solution to answer a specific use case, identify and define within the call for use cases. And this call will be open in autumn, so you can consider applying starting from November until January 23. Another opportunity you can find under BonsAPP project. Here, BonsAPPs will have a second open call. The aim is to select up to 11 adopters SME with different AI maturity level, but will receive 5 months support and receive funding to develop AI at edge solution using bonsai's marketplace. And next slide, please. You may think who is AI adopter. So for the purpose of BonsAPPs, there are 3 different type of SME adopters. First one is AI aware. So here's you can apply as SME with the objective to find an AI-based solution for your company. Under AI ready, you can apply as SME with little or no development resources to a scope and implemented the AI and edge solution. And AI competent SME is the one with limited resources and budget, but looking for collaborative innovation channel for a new proof of concept to scale up the internal resources. And this call will offer you up to 74,000 euro, and this money will be divided into 3 different categories. So first is direct funding. As a lump sum, you can receive up to 28,000 euro. And as a voter to buy services from AI talents, you can get up to 38,000 euro, and to buy some services from HPC resource providers, you can spend 8,000 euro on that. The call will be launched soon on 15th of August and will last until 2nd of November. You can apply through Fundingbox platform and check the necessary information and requirements under the link displayed on the screen now. Despite BonsAPPs, also I-NERGY will have the open call, the second open call. It will be launched in October and last until November. And here, this call is open to different type of beneficiaries, different type of companies, starting from SME through startups, also research institution or other relevant stakeholders are accepted. And the goal of this project is to develop new services on top of existing technologies, and the requirements is to develop solutions at minimum valuable product level. Under this call, 15 companies, 15 projects will be selected, will enter 9-month support program, and will receive funding up to 100k euro per project. You can learn more on the I-NERGY open call website. Also, DIH4AI is launching the call to select 10 SME-driven experiments that will participate in the program with cooperation with Digital Innovation Hub to focus on developing new AI solution to extend the AI for You platform and emphasizing DIH SME and DIH collaboration. You can learn more on the under the link display on the screen. And the next slide, please. And to go more into details, under this open call for SME-driven experiments, 10 SME center experiments will be selected. The ideal applicant would be consortium composed of 2 or 3 partners. Different type of partners are included. At least 1 SME should be part of this consortium. And the grant total amount that could be received is also 100k euro per experiment. And this open call will be open in September and last till December. And the next slide, please. And the last but not least, there's open calls offered by StairwAI. In late October, we launch the second open call for pilot. It will be similar to the first open call for pilot. And also, just a small disclaimer, we still have expression of interest call addressed to AI experts. The next cut-off date will be on 30th of September. Next slide, please. And the details of the second open call for pilot under StairwAI is you can get up to 60,000 euro. This money will be divided into lump sum and vouchers, that's similar like under BonsAPPs. And the type of project that StairwAI is looking for is a use case of adoption of AI by low-tech companies. And this project should also address one of StairwAI challenges. Under this open call, you can receive support from technical business mentor during 6-month support program. And of course, money, as I mentioned before. The call will be launched in October and last until December. You can learn more checking the StairwAI open call website. And this was the last funding opportunities that are available on the moment. I hope that you will find something interesting for you, depending on your sector and AI maturity level. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ola. So the use cases that were presented before were actually funded under open calls. So it's a great opportunity if you have an idea for AI solutions and so on, to apply to the open calls, and the projects will support you financially and with expertise then to implement your solutions. So next up, I believe we have our speaker Sergio Gusmaroli from Politecnico di Milano and DIH4AI. Sergio.
Okay, thank you, and good morning, everybody. This is Sergio Gusmaroli. I'm the coordinator of DIH4AI. Next slide, please. And so we have seen several very interesting and brilliant experiments run in the AI on demand platform, and also Ursula Ursula presented us the opportunities, the next opportunities for that. What is the DIH4AI project promoting here is a different way to approach AI and to apply AI in the different use cases in the different domains. And the approach is based on a regional, local focus. That is, act locally and think globally, basically. And we are leveraging on the movement of digital innovation hubs. I believe that you know what a digital innovation hub is. Here you have two pictures. On the left-hand side, you have the digital innovation hubs which expressed their interest in AI, and they are almost 400 in Europe. And on the right-hand side, you have the European Digital Innovation Hub candidate. Now they have received also the letter from Digital Europe about their project, the European Digital Innovation Hub, and you have almost 100 of them. And so it is easy for you to look for the Digital Innovation Hub which is closest to you in order to join this fantastic ecosystem of the AI on demand platform. In the Digital Innovation Hub, you could find AI solution providers, AI users, RTOs, universities, research centers, business developers, business capitalists, and so you really find whatever you need in order to deploy your business, your AI business. And this is a recommendation, and it is a recommendation for the AI on demand platform to have in the Digital Innovation Hub a fantastic dissemination and exploitation channel for the solutions that you have seen in order to replicate and scale up those solutions. And then you have on the other side that you have several experiments and several solutions, AI solutions, which are developed at regional level, which need to be unleashed, which need to have a European dimension and an international dimension. And this bi-directional effort is the main aim of the project. Next slide. How can we do it? We can do it. You could proceed with the animation, Melissa. Thank you. First of all, to find a home for the digital innovation hubs which are active in AI. And finding an home means to restructure a bit the AI on demand portal in order to have the digital innovation hubs active in AI to be able to show their services and to show their results, their experiments. This is done through a methodology that we call LBEST, which is the next click. And in this way, digital innovation hubs are able to model their services in a three-level taxonomy, so that it will be easier for SMEs to look at the services they are going to provide, and for other digital innovation hubs to look for collaboration. Next slide. And how this service portfolio analysis is integrated with the customer journey. So this is one example. And so we are not working one service by one service. We are working on pipelines of services. This is according to a customer journey for AI solution providers. You see the 5 levels: ideation, design and engineering, minimum viable product, verification and validation, go to market. And then you have the service portfolio LBEST analysis. And you see different pathways. That is how the digital innovation hub could really support, in this case, an AI solution provider to scale up, to go to market. And then we have also customer journeys for the AI users in different domains, as the domains that we have seen earlier this morning. How can we do it? Next slide. We can do it through an interoperability framework, which is going to interoperate the local regional platforms with the AI on-demand platform. And this is done at 3 main levels: at the level of portal, documents, and expertise, which means that the people who are very active in Digital Innovation Hub could be accessible and visible in their knowledge, in their expertise through the AI on-demand platform in a seamless way. Second, data. Data are usually produced at local level, and so they need to be stored in regional level, but they need to be assessed at European level or cross-regional level. That's why we are developing a data space, an AI data space, which will also allow, for instance, federated learning techniques in order to train AI tools. And third, the cloud experimentation. And I think you know that there is the experimentation facility in the AI on-demand platform, and we are developing a playground, a local playground, a regional playground, so that the AI pipelines which are designed at the European level could be deployed and executed on the real data at the regional level. Next slide. Who are we? At the moment, we are a community of 30 digital innovation hubs. There are other digital innovation hubs, for instance, those who express their interest in StairwAI and which could join also this network. And of course, we aim to grow, to scale up in order to cover as many European regions as possible, and in order to provide SMEs both from the demand side and from the off side with their services in order to improve digital transformation and AI adoption and take-up in Europe. Thank you very much. Melissa?
Thank you very much, Sergio. So that concludes our sessions on support that ICT49 projects offer in AI. So if you would like to contact any of the projects, you have the contact details here. You can follow us on Twitter and LinkedIn. You find us all under our project names, and also you have our contact emails here, and our websites have all information about open calls and so on. Thank you very much, all of you, for joining our webinar. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me at any time, and I can also redirect you to the different speakers or projects that you want to contact. You can reach me under melissa.brunner@insightcenter.eu. .com. Thank you very much to all of the speakers for presenting. We had some great presentations today, and we hope to see you in the future. We'll be working with you anyways as well in our different support projects through the open calls. And thank you very much to everyone. Have a lovely day.